Hello and welcome to today's webinar, 5 Strategies to Prevent and Reverse Diabetes. I am Dr. Laleh. I'm a research scientist and transitioned into a nutritional healing doctor. And today we're going to talk about some very, very practical tools to reverse, prevent diabetes, prediabetes, and with really healthy habits and primarily nutrition. So first I want to tell you a little bit about my vision is to create a culture of health where everyone's health is everyone's priority. If we care about others' health as much as we care about our own, we would have a much better world, don't we? And then, of course, I want a world where people are not just told to manage disease, but are given tools, education, support to truly change the direction of their health. I hope to live long enough to see that. My mission is to provide honest and transparent health education. I'm an educator and a teacher at heart and a scientist, so I'm always looking for ways to add value, and I really hope that you find that in this workshop today. I would love to teach practical tools that make healthy behaviors really realistic and doable and attainable, achievable. I love helping people understand the why behind their symptoms, not just that there are symptoms and defined as those symptoms. And of course, making health a norm and not an exception. Health is a birthright and not a luxury. So how did I end up here? Is in this picture, you see me at age about 8 and my dad, who was my heaven and earth and everything in between, and my really, truly influential parent in my life. I adored my life and my dad, and I worshipped him. And you can imagine my world came crashing down when he was diagnosed with advanced stage cancer. And he died on my 15th birthday. He was only 49. That is when I became obsessed with cancer and disease in general. And many, many years later, fleeing my country of birth and two continents. Later, I ended up in the United States, and about 20 years after my dad died, I became a research scientist in cancer biology, cancer immunology. However, I still felt something was missing in my mission. And what I learned was that more than 85% of all chronic conditions, including cancer, are preventable, reversible, and manageable without drugs, but with what we eat, how we move, and truly how we think. And also, I really felt that I could not focus on putting band-aids on disease. I wanted to be more proactive. I wanted to be able to help people before getting sick or help people reversing and managing in a much better, healthier way than prescription drugs and drastic measures. I truly believe that you deserve more than a diagnosis and a prescription. All of us do. And I also believe that you deserve to understand really what's happening inside your body and what is really driving it, what's causing it, what you can do to really change your own future, because you have the power and you can only change anything in your life that you want. And the only one who can stop you is really you. So what you will learn today is really what's type 2 diabetes. And we also talk about prediabetes and other types, but really this is the biggest portion of the talk. Why insulin resistance is oftentimes the root cause of many of the metabolic issues. And of course, what happens, why is it that no matter what you do, you're trying hard, you're doing the right thing, you're eating what you're supposed to, what you're told, or all of that, but still the blood sugar stays high. And we talk about metformin a little bit, where it fits and where it fails. And of course, I will tell you 5 important strategies that you can take and implement immediately today to improve your blood sugar naturally. And of course, how to take the next step with confidence. Sounds good? All right, so I'm always about focusing on results that last. Quick fixes, short-term things don't work, which is why I don't believe in diets. And many of you, I am sure you can put it in the chat, and I'd love to know that later, tried many, many diets. And if they worked, there wouldn't be new diets coming up every other day, right? So the goal is to really improve insulin sensitivity for all of us and stabilize blood sugar. That is the big goal for everyone, whether you are pre-diabetic or diabetic or not. Reduce inflammation, that is also an ultimate goal. Obviously, one of the major health measures is being at a healthy weight. So we want to support a healthy weight for each individual. Of course, with that comes protecting your brain, heart, your kidneys, your other organs, and your nervous system, your eyes, and pretty much your entire body and yourself. And most importantly, you want to create habits that you can maintain, that will last, that will be forever, and you don't have to go through cycles over and over again. So the goal is not just really to bring those numbers down on a lab report, because that's not enough. So some things about diabetes. This is staggering. This is like really amazing to me that, oh my gosh, more than 40 million American adults have diabetes. 90 to 95% of diagnosed diabetes are type 2. More than 115 million American adults are pre-diabetic, and many of them don't even know it. And that is the scary part. 1 in 2 adults, that is every room you walk into, 50% of the people in that room are pre-diabetic, and most likely they don't know it, or they might be diabetic. And of course, sad thing is type 2 diabetes is increasing in young people. And very, 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 very strongly, I want to say 99.9% is connected to heart disease, kidney disease, nerve damage, vision issues, and all of that. And more importantly, it is very influenced by lifestyle, nutrition, weight, inflammation, sleep, all these behaviors that we can choose to change that. So that is the good news. Why this workshop? And this is not just about blood sugar, because I see this every day in my practice, whether people come to me for cancer, for Parkinson's, for inflammation, for Crohn's disease. This is an important marker. Blood sugar is a warning. It's basically telling us, your body's telling us that, well, something is not working. And the blood sugar, when it's high, it is telling us that a lot of things could be happening. More often than not, it's a combination of more than 2 of these things, such as insulin, inflammation, energy, hormones, muscle health, stress, sleep, liver health, kidney health, all of that. So in order for us to improve and make a difference in our blood sugar, we really need to look at the whole body. Now, unfortunately, that rarely happens in our world of sick care today, because you go to the doctor, you're borderline blood sugar high, maybe pre-diabetic, and that is what we look at. And really, most of the time, a lot of things, other things are neglected. With a few exceptions, they might look at your insulin, they may look at your weight maybe and all of that, but really rarely do they talk about sleep recovery, muscle health. You know, they might look at your liver functions, not always. So really, in order to address that, we need to look at a whole person and the whole picture and put all of the pieces of the puzzle together, which is what I love to do. So what is diabetes? It is a chronic metabolic disease or condition where blood sugar stays high over time. This could happen because body doesn't make enough insulin, or your body doesn't respond well to insulin, or a lot of times both. And over time, this elevated blood sugar can damage blood vessels, nerves, organs, everything else, right? So it is not healthy to have elevated blood sugar chronically. We know that, right? You know this or you wouldn't be here. So there are 3 major types of diabetes. This is not all, but this is the big one. So type 1, obviously, it is something most people are born with. It's an autoimmune condition. The body somehow has started attacking the insulin-producing cells. So therefore, they are insulin dependent and usually requires lifelong care. Although I have had very many dear people, clients with type 1 diabetes, that have a very, 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 very normal life and very manageable type 1 diabetes and under control with minimal, near to nothing, really, symptoms, if you will. Very controlled. Type 2 diabetes, on the other hand, is the most common form. I told you about 90 to 95% of them are type 2. And this is a lifestyle. This is something that's acquired. Often begins with insulin resistance. And it is very, very connected. I firmly believe that's nearly 100% of the time is due to lifestyle, weight, inflammation, and metabolic health. And check this out. It is, definitely is reversible. very much so. So if you're here because you or someone you love has type 2 diabetes, this is your good news. It is very reversible, and I have data to show it. Now, there's gestational diabetes that happens during pregnancy, and it may resolve after childbirth, but it's something that really mothers should carefully monitor and care about, and really should be treated. I have worked with a few pregnant women during pregnancy to actually reverse that sort of gestational diabetes. And the bad thing is that it could increase future risk of type 2 diabetes. All right, so what is the pattern of type 2 diabetes? I just told you it is oftentimes acquired, meaning later on. And the pancreas may still make insulin, but the body becomes sort of resistant and sensitive to it, right? So the pancreas tries to compensate for it and make more, but then your body isn't using it. Over time, this blood sugar rises, and then eventually the pancreas gets tired, exhausted, right? And that becomes basically type 2 diabetes. So it's not just a sugar problem. It's often a lot of other things that lead to insulin resistance, the dysfunction of insulin, and diabetes. So there are a lot of steps where we can look at and actually stop the disease from progressing and reverse it. So what's insulin? You all have heard about it. I'm sure you all know. I'm sorry if I'm explaining this simply, but basically the way I look at insulin is like the key that opens the door. So insulin is a hormone that helps moving blood sugar, glucose, which is the form of sugar that all of our cells utilize as fuel, from the blood to the cells. So every time you eat, everything gets broken down, and all of it comes down to one single molecule of glucose. And that's where your red blood cells take that and ship it around throughout your body to the rest of your cells, because everybody needs energy to function, right? So when insulin is working well, you eat, you digest, your blood sugar goes up a little bit, and then insulin helps glucose move into the cells, delivers them, and then cells get their glucose, their meal they need, they start functioning, the energy, and then blood sugar kind of slowly comes back to normal, to a healthy range, and that's that. When insulin is not working well, is when it cannot open that door and bring the fuel to the cells, and what happens is the sugar stays in the bloodstream, which is not a good thing. So what is insulin resistance? It happens when body is actually making the hormone, but the cells are basically ignoring it. They're not responding. And then the pancreas tries to help by, let's make more insulin, but that really doesn't help. So what happens is you end up having higher level of insulin, which shows up in the labs. Of course, you're more hungry and you have cravings, because even though you're eating, your cells are getting the fuel, more fat storage, and of course, hanging on to stubborn weight that we don't want, really experiencing sleepiness and fatigue, and you have to take a nap after every meal. And then, of course, really higher fasting blood sugar, and eventually type 2 diabetes. So here's a little cartoon or animation. So lifestyle, nutrition, obesity, overweight, especially carrying weight in the midsection, some environmental factors could cause insulin resistance, which I just explained. Body doesn't respond to insulin, basically ignores it or resists it. Pancreas thinks that it needs to produce more insulin, so it puts out more insulin, and you have hyperinsulinemia, which means high insulin. And then you basically end up having organs such as your muscles, your liver, your fat cells can't really utilize this glucose, this fuel for energy. So they're starved, but sugar hangs out in the blood and elevated blood sugar happens. And of course, this is type 2 diabetes. Now, what causes type 2 diabetes? What are some factors that contribute to that? Obviously, the biggest thing is excess body fat, excess body weight, especially carrying a body weight in the midsection, and highly processed food. And that's not just like Doritos or whatever you call it, but really a lot of processed foods, a lot of things that come in a box. So there are levels of processing. Of course, there's minimal processing, but if you have consistently lots of processed food, frequent sugar, and frequent carbohydrates, refined carbohydrates, and we get through that a little bit. How I define carbohydrates is very different from the rest of the world, by the way. Low protein intake. This is the really biggie. Most people that I see especially most Americans, are very, very deficient in their protein intake, their healthy protein intake. Low fiber. Fiber is a key component to health, lowering cholesterol, blood sugar, all of that stuff. And of course, sedentary lifestyle. Chronic stress, sleep, alcohol, smoking, yo-yo dieting, you read it, inflammation. Some medications can cause actually your blood sugar goes up. There are some genetic factors that could contribute to people being more prone to getting type 2 diabetes. Doesn't mean that if you have it in your family, you are out to get it, but it makes some people a little bit more predisposed to that. You may not have influence on everything that's there, but you can have more influence than what you realize. So here are some myths that I would like to uncover. One thing is that diabetes means that I just ate too much sugar, which is not true. That's only one part of the puzzle. Sugar matters, but insulin resistance is much bigger than just sugar. And we get through that. We go through that. Another myth is that, well, if I am diabetic, then I just take a medication and that fixes the problem. Wrong. Medication doesn't fix the problem. And what it does, it just kind of helps the blood sugar stay down, but really it is a Band-Aid. It's like having a engine light go on in your car, and then you put a duct tape on it. Well, you won't see the engine light for a while, right? But that engine is still asking you for help. It's having a problem. So that is what most medications do in my mind. Lifestyle changes are still essential for long-term lasting results. Another myth is once you have diabetes, then you're it for the rest of your life. You always got it and it's going to get worse. That is absolutely not true. With type 2 diabetes, most people can improve that, reduce medication or eliminate it completely, and they can be completely in remission with the right support and right guidance. It is and can be reversible. Trust me, I'll show you some real results. Another thing I hear a lot is I can't have fruit if I have type 2 diabetes. A client of mine was dying to have a piece of fruit because he had not had fruit, type 2 diabetes, for 4 years. And the first time I gave him his menu, he was like, "You gotta be kidding me. I can have blueberries?" Yes, you can. Portion, time, type, timing, and a lot of other things also matter. So it doesn't mean that, okay, fruit's out of the picture. Absolutely not. And so are some other foods, by the way, as well. And then, of course, some people think that I just don't have the willpower. I'm not disciplined enough. That's not true. Willpower can't change your blood sugar, right? So you need strategy. You need something that works with you, your body, and your biology. Willpower is good, but not enough. Okay, I want to talk about metformin a little bit. I don't know how many of you are aware that a recent study came out, a 21-year study that looked at people who had type 2 diabetes, a group that took metformin, a group that took a placebo, meaning a fake pill, nothing, and a group that basically implemented lifestyle changes. This is a 21-year study, and after 21 years, they found that group in the metformin and group in the placebo, people in the placebo group, basically had the same outcomes and long-term results. Their risk factors for future diseases such as heart disease and all of the cancers and things like that was exactly the same. In simple terms, metformin really didn't change a whole lot as opposed to doing nothing. Now check this out. People who were on a lifestyle modification group, they improved their risks of disease by 24%. That is huge. And that's not a short term. It wasn't a small group, 21-year follow-up study with a large group. There you have it. It is common, it's the most common prescribed medication for type 2 diabetes and prediabetes. And a lot of people, I've seen my clients who are prescribed that for being overweight. And of course, it can lower blood sugar because that's what it works by reducing how much glucose is actually released from the liver, and then improves how the body responds to insulin because it's a drug, and it helps lower the fasting glucose to some extent in some people. However, if you remove metformin from the picture, everything goes back. And number two is your long-term risks are not really eliminated. So we're just quick fixing right now. We're not thinking about your long-term health. In 10 years, 20 years, are you going to have heart disease? Are you going to have a higher risk of cancer or other issues? Doesn't replace or even compare to right nutrition, movement, sleep, stress, and all of that that actually address the root cause. So we have a problem. We need to find the source of the problem. We need to eliminate the problem so that it doesn't come back. Metformin doesn't do that. Metformin puts a Band-Aid on it, puts a cover on it, shoves it under the rug, if you will. So medication manages the numbers on the lab report for some time, but it really does not remove the root cause and eliminate it forever. Now, it is very important. So if any of you are on medication, the goal is not to go ahead and stop it today. Please don't do that because I'm not telling you that. The goal is to have a strategy to really help your body bring your blood sugar down and repair and heal, and then slowly reduce your medication with the advice and the partnership with your provider. So the goal is to actually help your provider see that you are taking steps with lifestyle, nutrition, and all of the natural ways of letting your body heal, and then slowly you can work together and bring that down. Have happened. I've partnered with my patients and their providers time and time again on many medications, including metformin or other diabetes medications. Don't stop metformin, insulin, or any other medications that you're taking until you have a strategy and you have a plan in place, and you definitely want to partner with a provider and an expert. So track your numbers, improve your health habits, work with a trusted professional, and then of course have a team so that we can adjust your medications, and then when appropriate, you can go off them. All right, 5 strategies. Number 1, eat to stabilize your blood sugar. Okay, we want foods that don't elevate blood sugar quickly and then it drops in a half hour, right? So your meals, your every single meal that you consume should help sugar go up very slowly, not go up like that because it crashes just like that, right? So build your meals around number 1, healthy proteins. That is your biggest friend, healthy proteins. Not all proteins are created equal. Non-starchy vegetables. Healthy fats. Healthy fats are your friend. They are not your enemy, contrary to what we were told a few years ago. Fats are bad. That's not true. Healthy fats are good. Fiber is a very, very, very important component in overall health, improving, many types of cancer, among other things. But higher fiber carbohydrates, but the right carbohydrates are very important. And of course, lower processed sugar and whole foods as choices. We're not restricting, we're really focusing on keeping the blood sugar stable. So take a look at this plate as a good example. I'm going to give you a few examples here. So basically what philosophy I have is just a healthy plate I give every client is half, quarter plate. So that is half of your plate should be non-starchy vegetables. So the way I define carbohydrates are simple, which is the fruits of every plant. Then there is next level simple, a little bit more complex, which is flowers and leaves. Then there are stems and stems, and then you go down to underground, which is roots and seeds, right? So from very simple to the top to the underground roots and seeds, which are your complex starchy. So what's in the middle of the plant, basically your leaves and flowers and stems, are your biggest part of your plate, okay? And then you have quarter of your plate, a really high quality protein. And then quarter of your plate could be, depending on where you are in your health and your goals, starchy carbohydrates. That's why I said if tolerated or if appropriate. And of course, we want to top it off with nice healthy fat and avoid sugary drinks especially. Avoid drinking your meals anyway. Even if it is a kale juice, guess what? You're supposed to eat it, not supposed to drink it. So here are some examples. The top left, you see chicken, salad, avocado, roasted vegetables. On the top right, you see eggs and sauteed greens and some berries. The bottom left, you'll see salmon and sweet potato, and actually this is a yam, but pretty similar in asparagus. Asparagus is a stem, the sweet potato or yam is a root, by the way, or underground. And then you have turkey, lettuce wrapped with vegetables and hummus. So all of these plates are very, very balanced, and they are designed to bring your blood sugar up very, very slowly as Mother Nature intended. No blood sugar spike. So how do you reduce or avoid this blood sugar spike? The foods that commonly do that, obviously, I don't have to tell you, you know this, sugary drinks, fruit juices. So that is sometimes misleading because people think, I drink your orange juice every morning, it's healthy. No, not really. Mother Nature intended for you to eat the orange and not drink the juice. Sugar, candy, desserts, pastries, of course. Here's a surprising thing most people don't tell you. In fact, FDA won't tell you, or your doctor won't tell you, but I will tell you because I'm going to be honest with you. Grains, all grains, gluten or gluten-free, especially gluten-free grains, are your biggest enemy. Seriously, worse than sugar. They're your biggest enemy. And I can't get into this in detail, maybe another workshop, but I highly recommend you try giving up grains altogether. Not just gluten, altogether, all grains. Highly processed snack foods. Large portions of, say, white potatoes or yellow potatoes, a lot. I'm not saying never have them, but if you have them every single day, every single meal, a lot of it, yeah, that kind of adds up. Alcohol. As far as I'm concerned, alcohol is as bad as smoking. It is just more accepted. So give up the alcohol. It's not doing you any good. None whatsoever. It does raise your blood sugar. It puts you at risk of many types of cancer, among other things. Late night eating. So anytime, what do I call late night eating? Anytime you eat a heavy meal after 7 o'clock. Okay, so keep really your dinner's lightest meal of the day, and try not to eat much later than 7 o'clock. Now, if you go to bed at midnight, I would say that's kind of late against your circadian rhythm, but really try to eat lighter and pretty much not too close to bedtime, late night eating. And then, of course, look at those foods that are, culprits. So they are healthy food, but they're not really, they have lots of hidden sugar. So don't ask now, well, I can never have this or that. Don't think about it that way. Think about what all the other things that I have available to me and how does this food, whatever it is in front of you, affect my blood sugar and my goals? Is it worth it? Right? Because your health is your most important asset. So is this thing in front of you, whatever it is, worth your health? Ask that question. What to eat more of? Well, there's a lot of good things to eat. For example, non-starchy vegetables, like I told you, leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, very good high-quality proteins, such as eggs, fish, poultry, lean red meats, wild game, some beans, legumes, and lentils, if tolerated, for some people not. And of course, healthy fats, such as avocados, avocado oil, olive oil, and nuts and seeds, good fruits and berries. We'll talk about some better fruits if you are diabetic or pre-diabetic, not to eliminate, but really choose wisely. And of course, high fiber foods, but the right type of fiber too. So food really should help your body feel steady source of energy, fueled and satisfied all the time. And really, you should never, any time of the day, except for when it's bedtime at night, feel like you need to take a nap. That's true. We don't need to take an afternoon nap. If you feel like you need to do that, there's something wrong with the way that you're eating. Okay, so these guidelines are really strictly focused on people with prediabetes or diabetes, type 2 diabetes or type 1, but really these are focused on that. So that's the general guideline. And you see this arrow, this scale that would eat more at the very top, eat less at the very bottom. So when you talk about fruits, fresh fruits and stuff, at the top of the list is a grapefruit, which is generally doesn't raise the blood sugar. It actually is a diuretic, healthy. Apples, berries, peaches, and so on. You go down to apricots and cherries and bananas at the bottom of the list. And this also includes, by the way, dried, dehydrated fruits, also at the bottom of the list if you have, insulin issues or blood sugar issues, prediabetes or diabetes. Now, with respect to fresh vegetables and where they fall on this scale, obviously dark colors and lighter, non-starchy at the top, green, yellow, red leaves, stems, green, yellow, red. And of course, then we come to roots, which is underground, right? Those are your complex carbs in my book. So those from the very top, turnips at the top of the list, so you can have more of those, rutabaga, sweet potatoes, yams, and then red potatoes, yellow potatoes. And at the very bottom is white potatoes. Not to never have them, but if you do have diabetes, we need to monitor those things at the bottom of this list a little more carefully until we resolve that issue. Basic carbohydrate guidelines. I always say start with the smaller portions of everything and pair your carbohydrates with protein, fat, and fiber. Some carbohydrates themselves have higher levels of fiber, some of them low. So we really want to make sure you have a good balance. Most of the time, avoid eating carbohydrates alone, which is a common thing most people do. It's a good thing having an apple for a snack in the afternoon, but that apple alone, it should be paired with something that'll slow down that blood sugar spike. That something could be a good healthy protein or a good healthy fat. Choose whole food carbohydrates, plant-based carbohydrates more often than processed carbohydrates like pasta or things like that. This is a very, very small thing, and everyone should do this. Like walk after meal, especially your dinner. 10 minutes, that's all it takes. Get up and go and get the mail and go walk in the neighborhood or around your yard or something like that. That really, really helps prevent and reduce the blood sugar spikes. And of course, if you are already measuring or if you are already dealing with diabetes, use a glucose meter to really track what happens when you eat certain foods and versus other things, and so that you have your own personal data. Number 2, build muscle. This is something that oftentimes not talked about. It does improve insulin sensitivity. How does it do that? Muscle is one of the most powerful things in the body that can actually control that. Why? Because muscle pulls glucose out of the bloodstream for its own energy, right? So the more muscle you have, the actual higher your metabolism, we all know that, and also, of course, helps with the removal of the glucose from the bloodstream for energy. So you don't have to be a bodybuilder or a heavy lifter. You don't have to have a gym or go to a gym. Really, you can do this anywhere. Strength training or resistance training 2 to 4 times a week. You can use your own body weight. You do not need equipment. You can use resistance and strength training just with your own body. Walking after meals as much as possible, even if it means 5 to 10 minutes every time you eat, that would be great. Cardio most days of the week. Cardio that actually elevates your heart rate to a level that you don't really want to chat with your friend, like telling love stories, right? So really kind of working it. And of course, reducing long periods of sitting. I oftentimes use myself as an example. I love exercise, and I exercise 2 hours a day, including cardio, but I have a sedentary lifestyle. You would say, what? Yes, because I am sitting at this desk, at this computer, 99% of my time during work hours. So I need to make sure that I either bring my stand-up desk, everyone who wants stand up, which I do, and also get up at least once every hour. So that is one key thing that people miss. I exercise every day. Well, yes, but what about the rest of your day, right? You really need to be moving consistently to some shape or form, not to exercise, but really if you have a lifestyle of work like I do, you want to be mindful of getting up and moving around. And of course, starting where you are. There is no perfect because there's always room for better. What you need is not perfection. What you need is consistency, doing something all the time. Movement that works, 10 minutes walk after meals, especially after your dinner. Strength, resistance training, even with your own body weight. Twice a week, that's a good start. Set a daily step goal. That is a big help. Have a meter that you put on your waist. A lot of my clients do that. Just hit a goal, see how much first, start with collecting data, how many steps are you taking currently, and then build on that. Set a goal and make it happen. Create a challenge with your friends and family or neighbors or coworkers. Gentle movement after dinner. You don't have to go for a jog. I don't recommend it, in fact, or don't go swimming or whatever, but really move. Don't go eat and sit down. Move around, do something. Maybe fold the laundry. I don't know what you do. Go get the mail. Something that kind of prevents you from sitting down right after your dinner. And of course, if you don't feel like exercising, walking, or whatever, it's not one of those days, just do some stretching and mobility on those days. And important, play. I always say play, don't exercise. So choose a cardio that you really enjoy. What's right for me is not right for you. The best exercise is the one that you like, in fact, the one that you love, and you will repeat, right? Because if you're going to choose something that you hate, guess what? You might do it 2 days and then you're not going to like it. And life's too short to be doing something you don't enjoy. So take some form of a movement that you enjoy. It could be pickleball, swimming, walking, hiking, dancing, whatever it is for you. Really find what you enjoy and build on that. Strategy number 3, sleep and stress. Very, very underrated. The poor sleep contributes to stress hormones, cortisol, and of course blood sugar, and really wrecks all of the hormones. So even when you eat perfectly and exercise all the time, you don't get good sleep. Wow, that's going to wreck a lot of things. Stress hormones increase, and of course stresses your liver. You all know this. When you have a sleepless night, or if you had to stay up for a project or something, oh, you're more hungry, you have cravings, right? Insulin resistance comes from that, more hunger, inflammation, fatigue, weight gain. It's really not a good thing. So it's not just about what you eat that affects your blood sugar, but really how your body deals with everything and whether it has time to recover and rest and do all of that, which is very important. In terms of sleep, you want to aim for 7 to 9 hours of uninterrupted quality sleep. You need to create a consistent bedtime and wake up time. Now, circadian rhythm tells us that humans are supposed to be sleeping between somewhere between 9 and 10 at night, and then until like 5 and 6 in the morning. Somewhere between that window of time is a perfect time to sleep. Now, don't tell yourself you're a night owl. We're not. Okay, that is what nature says. Create a consistent bedtime. Try to make that happen almost all the time, even on weekends, maybe an hour fluctuation or so. Stop eating 2 hours before you go to bed. Make dinner your lightest meal of the day. And reduce the screen, please. Put your phone away sometime around 6 o'clock. This is my strategy. 6:30, my phone goes on airplane mode, goes upstairs, away from anything else, and I don't even see it to even look at it. Computer and things the same. Practice deep breathing when you go to sleep. Box breathing, 4 counts in, stop, 4 counts out, so on and so forth. Walk outside every day. More importantly, get daylight, sun, or even light, even if it's cloudy, before noontime, at least 10 minutes every single day. That will set your circadian clock. Now, build margin into your schedule. Put what I call non-negotiable time. That is me time. That is your time. Don't fill your day with everything. Put some margins there that you allow yourself to be free to move, to go get sunlight, or just breathe, or rest, or exercise, or whatever it is. Don't fill your schedule. Don't be an overachiever. Doing more isn't always better. And of course, ask for support, a buddy, or someone who can help you. Your nervous system is a huge part of your health in general, but also your blood sugar plan. Strategy number 4, reduce inflammation and other hidden drivers. So it's not just strictly blood sugar. There's so many drivers in our health, in our body, around us, in our environment that contribute to that. And this include inflammation that's caused by various different factors, gut health issues, of course, nutrition deficiencies. You may be eating calories, not absorbing. So, your body's not getting nutrients it needs, it's not absorbing them. Your liver is under stress. Your hormones are out of whack. Of course, you are under chronic stress, which is not good. And obviously, that also can lead to poor sleep in and of itself. Being exposed to toxins. It doesn't mean you have to be in a toxic environment necessarily, but even your generic household products can have lots of toxins that can affect your hormones and your health, including your insulin. Yes, I said it. Your household items, cleaning products, and other things in your house could actually be affecting your health. Emotional eating patterns. There is no such thing as stress eating. Cavemen didn't do that. They didn't have readily available, chocolate bar or chips or whatever comfort food we call when a large animal was chasing them, right? So don't tell yourself that. There is no such a thing. It's a man-made thing. Get rid of it. I'm being honest with you. Some medications do affect your blood sugar, so we want to take a look at those. And of course, lack of accountability. You don't have to do it alone. So if you find the drivers behind this stubborn blood sugar, you can actually use those to your favor. You have a superpower when you know what's driving it, and you can actually stop them, eliminate them, or fix them. Number 5, if you don't measure, you don't know what you're changing, right? You can't change if you don't measure, right? So we need to have data, and it's not just my scientist me saying this, but really in reality, you need to know your numbers. You need to know where you are, and then you know where you are going, and then you can measure, right? So you need to measure. Important things to know: fasting blood sugar, A1C, fasting insulin, triglycerides, HDL, waist circumference. Really, what is that? And there's a ratio we can measure. Your blood pressure, weight trends. How are you with your weight? Where are you stuck? Are you at your healthy weight or not? What does it take to get there? How's your energy level, your cravings, your sleep quality? And of course, post-meal blood sugar. Where does that go, right? Now, A1C tells you a part of the story. Insulin resistance often starts way before your A1C tells us that you're diabetic. So we need to look at some of these basic numbers. Some markers to ask about, some of those already we talked about: A1C, fasting glucose, so on and so forth. One thing that most people don't know about, and doctors don't know about, or they won't do it, is advanced lipid panel. This is very different from your routine lipid panel. Your routine lipid panel may tell you you're in good shape with your cholesterol. Your advanced lipid panel tells me you're at high risk of a heart attack. It could be that different. So that is something you should ask your doctor, and if they don't order it for you, reach out and someone like me can order them for you. Liver enzymes are important to make sure your liver is not under stress, is functioning well as your kidneys. Vitamin D, especially in New England where I am, is important, especially in the wintertime, and that contributes to a lot of different factors. Of course, B12, especially if you're taking metformin, because metformin, like many other medications, also interferes with absorption of certain vitamins and minerals and micronutrients, so you want to be aware of that. And of course, this is another one that's very much overlooked: high sensitivity C-reactive protein. Many people know the CRP, C-reactive protein, not good enough. We want to look at high sensitivity CRP. It's a much more sensitive measure, and you want to ask your doctor that again. If they don't know what that is or they can't do it, reach out. I can do it for you. So the more you understand your data, the more data you have, your numbers, they are your numbers, then you can actually make changes that are meaningful. And then you can measure progress, which is really fun. Now, if not managed, type 2 diabetes has primary complications. Just few of them are mentioned here: cardiovascular disease, endocrine disorders, immune disorders, and nervous system disorders. And if it keeps going, and if you don't manage it, you don't take care of it, there are secondary complications, which are longer term, more serious, such as respiratory disease, skeletal disorders, digestive disorders, and various types of cancer. Full-blown metabolic disease is really not a good thing. Now, the risks I already told you: heart disease, stroke, kidney disease, wound healing gets bad, fatty liver disease, quite common, and really memory loss, cognitive loss. And my biggest fear is always lots of certain types of cancer. Now, I told you a lot of sad things here, right? A little depressing. More than 150 million Americans are living with this terrible, terrible condition. Diabetes or prediabetes worldwide is becoming more common. Children are getting more diabetes, and type 2 diabetes especially. And this is alarming. More than 40% of US adults are obese. And that is one of the major contributing factors to metabolic disease. Yes, it has become more common because our food system is corrupt, our healthcare system is corrupt, and all of that. I don't need to get into that. But common doesn't mean normal. It does not have to become your normal. If everyone around you is overweight and has metabolic disease and has diabetes, doesn't mean that you should too. Okay, so let's get that out of there. It's not normal. We need to go back to a healthy normal. And it does not mean that it's inevitable. Now, I'm going to share just 2 little short stories because we're almost out of time. So this is just a text I got from one of my clients, Alice, who basically wrote literally in the middle of the night, and I got this the next morning, I feel like you're saving my life, like exclamation point many times. She shared the labs with me on her cell phone. My insulin was at 72 just a few weeks ago. Now it's at 8.2. By the way, this woman was not even 40 years old. My CPK came down from 1268 to 990 in just a few weeks. She was so ecstatic in the middle of the night, she texted me, which I didn't get, by the way. I got it the next morning. And nothing makes me happier than seeing things like this from my clients. And of course, this is a long testimony, but I really need to read it for you. This is Jim saying, I've been working with Dr. Laleh for 7 months, and I was diagnosed with arterial inflammation. He wrote this to me yesterday, by the way. Borderline diabetic and obesity. She started with blood tests as baseline to create personalized program to address these concerns. She's prescribed food as medicine. She provided monthly outlines, guidelines, including specifics what I should be focused on in my diet. I am thrilled to share that I have successfully lost 30 pounds and going. And it says my inflammation markers had started at 10.9. Yes, those were the high sensitivity CRPs I told you about. Those are dangerous levels. And now, just about 10 days ago, they were at 2.8. I'm determined and excited to keep moving and my health through nutrition because it clearly works, and it does. Feeling more energetic, healthier all around. She's helped me greatly in being successful with proper nutrition versus another pill. This is Jim in one of his hikes recently that he really could not even think about, somewhere around 8 months ago or a year ago. He's doing phenomenal. Why most people get stuck? Well, you're told, eat better, but how? What is better? Really define that. What's better? In what book, right? What's better for you? Because you are not a statistic. You are unique. They focus only on sugar when it comes to insulin and diabetes or metabolic conditions. It's not just that. They rely on medication most of the time because guess what? You go to the doctor, you're borderline or you're already there and there is a pill most of the time, right? 90% of the time you're not told to change your lifestyle. You are given a pill. That doesn't fix the problem. It masks it. People do random diets, something they found on Google or what? Gosh knows, ChatGPT these days. Of course, everyone goes on there. It must be right because ChatGPT told me that, but really it's not a plan for you because ChatGPT does not know you, no matter what you tell it about yourself. They're overwhelmed by so many conflicting advice. Go vegan, go vegetarian, go plant-based, go whatever, carnivore, paleo, and this and that and the other things. So many things out there. Everyone's confused, and I can't blame you for being confused. And just say, heck with it. None of this makes any sense because they're all conflicting, right? And they don't support you. They have no accountability. They have no support. They have no real person be with you. ChatGPT doesn't talk to you like a human brain does, right? And of course, many people wait until things get worse. I know so many people who are like borderline for years, and the doctor's like, oh, you're fine, you're fine. Oops, all of a sudden you're diabetic. Well, no, that's not a good strategy. Let's stop it before it gets there, right? Information alone doesn't change your health. A clear plan that's made for you change your health. Recap the 5 strategies real quick. Eat to stabilize your blood sugar, build muscle, prioritize sleep and stress. Recovery, of course, address hidden drivers, and track the numbers so you can follow a plan that actually shows you results. Okay, we went through this really, really fast. I'm sorry, there's a lot of things I want to share with you, but I want to end with this. You have a choice. We all have choices every single day. You can hope that it gets better or it's not an issue. You can avoid the conversation and hope it goes away, like that Band-Aid or that duct tape on the engine light. You can wait until the next time, see, has anything changed even if I haven't done anything? Most likely not. You can stay overwhelmed and worried about it. And you can keep putting yourself and your health on the back burner. Or you can be honest about it, address it right today, no overwhelm. This is where I am. These are my numbers. Get the right support. Learn about what your body really needs, your body, because you're unique, and make your health your #1 priority because you are the most important person in this world, right? You are. Say it with me. I am the most important person in this world, and my health is my most valuable asset. Now, a new way to think about diabetes. It is not an inevitable thing. It is not a failure. It is not willpower. It is a sign. It is a signal your body's telling you that your body needs support. Your body needs your attention. It's poking you, saying, help me. Your metabolism is under stress. It is a signal that whatever you're doing right now, it is not working. And it is a signal to act now. Do something about it right now, even if it means small changes. Every little small change makes a difference. So today I'm introducing to you for the first time my very specific diabetes and prediabetes essentials program. This is a program only for people who want to address prediabetes, diabetes, blood sugar, insulin resistance, all of that. You don't have to be fully diabetic. You can be borderline, but you want to take control today. It's a 12-week program, which I will give you personalized guidance, weekly sessions with tons of information, nutrition strategy, lifestyle coaching, root cause education, really finding out what is causing a lot of issues. Of course, there is accountability because I give you tough love because that's the only kind of love I know. And of course, blood sugar support, tools that you can implement into your life today, and of course, a clear plan for long term. I'm going to walk you through really quickly of what this includes. Fully transparent. This is totally, I started this as a $3,000 value because every single one of those alone is what I've listed there. 12-week program just on itself on a portal is $597. You get weekly step-by-step nutrition protocols, real food meal guides, and shopping lists and menus and recipes and everything at $297. You get 4 live coaching with me and accountability, clarity, laser coaching, just 1 every month. And then you get private support in community for Q&As and a lot of goodies we share there. Weekly action plans, challenges, accountability tools. That alone is $147. Complete resource library with templates, shopping tools, guides. That is $197. And of course, weekly recipe packs and practical wellness tools. That's a $97 value. I give you a bonus today. It's a personalized 45-minute session with me, which when you complete your 12-week program, all of that, we'll sit down together and really design your plan for life around that for you. You and me alone. So we do that. And then, of course, we do you also get a 5 health essential course, which is a course I've created to really show how modern foods, lifestyle, environmental things can impact long-term health. That is sold for $47. And this is the big bonus, a root cause assessment. So that is my customized, personalized approach to my private clients, one-on-one, which is an in-depth, personalized health and strategy session that we can go through your labs, we can review everything that's unique about you and really create a framework for you along with this whole program that you can utilize. And when we wrap it at the end of 12 sessions with that 45-minute session, you have your blueprint for the rest of your life. That alone is $997. So all of this together is truly $3,000, 43. I really nickel and dimed it, and that's kind of what it's worth. Regular program, if you go on the website right now, is $1,297. Today, until midnight, you guys get $300 off. Use the promo code diabetes300. So your total today until midnight is $997. After today, it will go away after tonight. And I would love to create this really amazing community. I have other communities which are generally all walks of life in there. I recently, with this Metformin study, I just thought I need to do this for people who need this. Not only a tangible plan, something for life, and more importantly, a community of people that you can share and talk to and get support and, have fun with. So what's your next step? You can wait until your numbers get worse or stay where they are. That's not good either. Or you can, you don't have to figure it alone because obviously nobody can do it alone, and you can actually have a better understanding of your health and your numbers with this program. get started today. You can scan the QR code on the screen right now, or you can go to dynamicnaturaladvantage.com, use the promo code diabetes300 until midnight today so you can take advantage of this offer. Alrighty. Whoa, I'm out of breath here. That was fast. All right, so I'm going to obviously stop sharing, and I am going to allow you guys, let's see, raise hands or put your questions in the chat while I figure out how to actually get you guys to be able to talk. Anybody want to have a question, you want to speak up, or you want to put in the chat? I'm happy to answer them. Let's see, let me quickly take a look at the chat. Question, does a statin medication have any impact on blood sugar and prediabetes? Yes, in some cases they do. The website is called, I will put the website in the chat. Bear with me momentarily, or actually can share with you the link directly. So here is the link to the program, so you don't have to go looking for it. All right, there is the link directly to the Diabetes Essentials program. And until midnight, you have the bonus of Diabetes 300. Oops. That's the promo code before you check out. You want to put that promo code there and you get $300 off.